Sergeant Duggan up for examination. Sergeant Duggan is the individual who sees the garbage from the garbage can. I do have numerous exhibits I plan on introducing through him today. So that will be the morning, and then the afternoon we have a few witnesses that have to do with additional video surveillance that was obtained.
Okay, thank you. Is Sergeant Duggan here?
He is right outside, Your Honor.
Thank you. Let's first bring the jury in, please. Would counsel stipulate, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. We continue now with the state's witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state would call Kevin Duggan to the stand. Can you go grab him for me? Thank you. May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name and spell it for the record.
Sure, it's Kevin Duggan, K-E-V-I-N-D-U-G-G-A-N.
And your affiliation?
I'm a sergeant with the Connecticut State Police.
Thank you.
Sergeant, you may be seated.
Thank you.
May I inquire, Your Honor?
Yes.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Sir, how long have you worked for the Connecticut State Police?
Approximately 16 years.
And are you assigned to a particular division or department within the state police?
Yes, I'm assigned to the Central District Major Crime Squad.
What areas does the Central District Major Crime Squad cover?
The central part of the state in and around Hartford.
And within that Central District Major Crime Squad, are you assigned to a particular specialization or division?
Yes, I'm assigned to the crime van.
And when we say van, what does that mean?
It's a van or truck, as you will, and basically it is a mobile crime lab.
Do you have any specialized training or experience with respect to being a sergeant on the van?
Yes, I've been assigned.
Date when this was? Do you have an updated? Yeah, if I can. I'll find the number on another date. Sir, do you recognize where the intersection is depicted? Is it depicted on that screen in front of you?
I know there's a restaurant I'm trying to find that can reference it.
And what's the restaurant, sir?
It's Scott's Jamaican Bakery.
Okay, and you mentioned Scott's Jamaican Bakery. Why do you recall that?
Because that restaurant, the trash can was right in front of it, And that trash can was at the corner of those intersections.
Okay, so is it safe to say you don't remember exactly the road names?
Correct.
Okay, but you remember Scott's Jamaican Bakery?
I do.
Okay. And with respect to Scott's Jamaican Bakery, going back to States 36, sir, do you have is Scott's Jamaican Bakery depicted in that screen now?
It is.
If you could please point to it. Okay.
That's the awning from the restaurant.
Okay. With respect to that intersection in that area, did you find, or did you go to any other garbage canisters?
At this intersection, no.
You can have a seat, sir. Thank you. What did you do once you got to this intersection?
We documented the area with photographs, and then we seized the trash from that trash can at that intersection.
I'm going to have you take a look at the screen in front of you, sir. Do you recognize what's depicted on that screen?
I do.
What is depicted?
The trash can that we seized the trash from, and the Scott's Jamaican Bakery.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of what that area looked like on May 30th, 2019?
It is.
Did you take that photograph?
I did.
The state would offer it, Your Honor.
No objection.
I'm
States
gonna
42, File 1,
actually file 2,
File 2,
picture 1.
Photo 1, admitted as a full exhibit.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to continue, if I can, just draw your attention to the screen in front of you. Do you recognize what's depicted on that photograph?
I do.
What is?
That's the overall contents of the trash before we seized it.
And is that a fair and accurate representation of what it looked like that
It
day?
is.
Did you take that photograph?
I did.
The state would offer that as well.
May I briefly, Vladimir? This image, which is image 2 in this folder, was this everything that was in that receptacle when you took off the cover and peered in?
Yes.
Did you seize everything that's in this image?
Yes.
No objection.
States 42, File 2,
Picture 2.
Photo 2, admitted as a full exhibit.
Thank you. Sir, if you can continue looking at your screen in front of you, what's depicted on the screen, please?
That's the contents of the trash can once we remove the items from it.
And is that a fair and accurate representation of what the contents of the trash can look like after you remove the items?
Correct.
Did you take that photograph?
I did.
State would offer it.
And quick, Vladimir, if I may.
Yes.
Did you take what we call the remnants or debris that's shown in this photograph with you? Did you clean that out or remove any of those?
That I don't recall.
No objection.
States 42, File 2,
Picture 3.
Photo 3, admitted as a full exhibit.
Thank you. Sir, continue if you can, looking at the screen in front of you. Do you see what's depicted on the screen?
I do.
Do you recognize it?
I do.
What is it?
So that is the brown paper laid out with the location handwritten in the bottom left, and the trash that we seized within the trash bag that we provided.
Is that back at the Troop H garage?
Correct.
Okay. And did you take that photograph?
I did.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of what it looked like on May 30th, 2019?
It is.
The state would offer it, Your Honor.
Again, I just want to clarify, if I may.
Yes.
This isn't all the items you took out of that receptacle in front of the bakery, is it?
That's what we took.
Just what's shown in this image?
Correct.
I thought when you testified just minutes ago, we saw a picture that there were all these other items, that white bags. How is this?
Objection, Your Honor. That is going into cross-examination. This is voir dire.
So the initial voir dire question was, does this bag contain all of the items that was, all of the items that were in the receptacle in front of Scott's Bakery? And the response was yes.
Maybe I just, one clarification question. What we're actually seeing in this image isn't physically what you see out of the receptacle, is it?
This is our trash bag with
Oh.
the trash.
Yes, the next one.
File 3, picture 9.
File 3, picture 9. Sir, I'm going to draw your attention to the screen behind you. Do you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
I do.
What is it?
That's another clear trash, well, that's a clear bag with a blood-like substance on it.
Is this, did you later learn whether this was a poncho as well?
I don't remember.
If I may approach you and show you stage 44. Do you recognize that?
I do.
And what do you recognize this to be?
That's the package that item number 502B is contained in.
Okay. Did you give it the item number 502B?
I did.
And what is 502B?
Basically a clear plastic bag with blood-like substance on it.
State would offer 44.
It's that. No objection.
States 44 admitted as a full exhibit.
Do you recognize this item?
I do.
What is this item?
That's exhibit 502B, which was a clear plastic bag with blood-like substance, later identified as a poncho.
Now, there's a lot of, I guess, grayness on this.
Yes,
Do you know what that is?
I do.
What is it?
It's a fingerprint powder.
Do you know this item later went to the lab?
Yes, it did go to the lab.
I'm going to actually draw your attention over here to the, I guess, left side. Do you recognize what's depicted on the left side of this item?
I do.
What's depicted on the left side of this item?
It's a blood-like substance.
Is that in the same condition as the day you seized it from May 30th, 2019?
Yes,
Now, you indicated the other poncho was wet in some parts.
yes.
Was this one?
I don't recall.
You could take a look at the screen as well on the upper right. What is depicted on that photograph?
That's remnants from the bag transferred onto the brown paper.
Then at the break, I will repackage these and seal them up. They are.
It is 11:15 now. Attorney Manning, do you wish to take the morning recess now?
May I just take a look at what is the next one? We can take the recess now, Your Honor. I can-
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll stand in our morning recess. Please do not discuss the case. We will return at 11:35.
All rise. case, but also just for the fact that for the police investigation, my offer would be, Your Honor, that the police did take steps with respect to these keys after they were seized. So that will come in as well. So with respect to the offer of proof, this is the Exhibit 49 is the item that is seized on that day on May 30th in Albany Avenue. The witness testified that he took a photograph of it, he labeled it, and it was seized as evidence, so the state would offer it.
Well, however, in each of the other offers, the state asked, what led you to seize the particular item? The court did not hear that question with regard to this item.
Well, to be fair, Your Honor, I don't believe I asked that until after, with respect to the ponchos, they had been admitted without objection from counsel. So then I proceeded to ask specifics with respect to the item. So if Your Honor wishes, I can continue more with respect to this, but I can ask
Well,
him.
the court is going to sustain the relevance objection because simply retrieving the item from the garbage may have been the decision of Sergeant Duggan, but the relevance is not clear, so that's sustained.
Okay. Can you go on to the next one, please? Sir, do you see the picture behind you?
I do.
What photograph is that?
Yes, 19.
Picture 19. Sir, what is that?
It's a picture of zip ties.
Did you find those out of the garbage on Albany Avenue that day?
I did.
And did you package them and bring them back to Troop H?
I did.
You did. And with respect to these items, did you then subsequently separate them from the other items?
Yes.
Similar to you did every item that was contained in that garbage can?
Yes.
And did you photograph it?
Yes.
And did you then seize it as an evidentiary number?
Yes.
What evidentiary number did you seize it as?
502H.
And why did you seize it?
So on the zip ties, there's a blood-like substance on several areas of the zip ties, and I found that relevant.
In the course of it, by the way, you testified earlier that you were searching the garbage cans. Were you aware of Jennifer Farber-Douglas's disappearance?
I was.
And were you aware that the Ford Raptor was seen on video depositing garbage bags the night of Jennifer Farber-Douglas's disappearance?
I was.
So would you feel that zip ties would be relevant toward the investigation into the disappearance of Jennifer Douglas?
I'm going to object. What he felt, again, is not relevant, and what's relevant is what the court decides. I'm not objecting to this exhibit, but I'm objecting to the question, letting him give his subjective opinion about what's relevant to the case.
Well, there's already been testimony that there was a blood-like substance on the zip ties. So
Your Honor.
that suggests that the relevance objection is overruled.
I didn't make one. I was objecting to the question of asking him to opine as to why he thought it was.
Well, there's already been testimony that there was a blood-like substance on the zip ties.
That is fine, if I may, Your Honor.
Yes.
So I'm going to show you what's been marked as States 50. Do you recognize this item?
I do.
What is contained within this, or what is this item?
It's the zip ties contained within evidence packaging.
And are these the zip ties that you seized out of the garbage that day on Albany Avenue on May 30th, 2019?
They are.
Are they the zip ties that you saw the blood-like substance contained on them?
They are.
And are they the zip ties that you seized for 502H?
Yes.
I would ask to publish it at this time.
Yes.
Thank you.
There's 2 papers.
Now, Now, sir, did these also go to the lab?
They did.
And how many zip ties were found in that bag? Do you
There were
recall?
4 pieces of zip tie.
Now, you say pieces. Why do you say that?
Because the zip ties were cut.
If I can, could you please put on some gloves, sir? Sure. If I may. Now, just briefly, with respect to the zip ties, you said, you indicated there was a blood-like substance. If you can, sir, I'm gonna hand you over the zip ties. If you could please show the jury where that substance is contained therein. And for the record, it would be at the, is that the tie?
I think you dropped something.
Oh. Thank you. If you could just explain where the blood-like substance is contained within that.
On this connector piece, and then on the other end of the zip tie.
And is that a tie that has been cut?
Yes.
Where? Thank you. I'm gonna hand you another one, please. And by the way, if I can, just to be clear, these have little tags on them. The one you looked at, is it labeled 52-2?
Yes.
And what is it a photograph of?
A photograph of a paper towel with blood-like staining on it.
And did you seize it as evidence?
I did.
I may approach states 55. Do you recognize that item?
I do.
And what is it?
It's the item, the paper towel, the blood-like staining, contained within an evidence packaging.
Why did you seize that as evidence that day?
Found it relevant due to the fact that it had blood-like staining on it.
State would offer 55.
No objection.
States 55 admitted as a full exhibit.
May I publish?
Yes.
Sir, did this also go to the lab?
It did.
Sir, if you could take a look at the picture
This is 28.
28. Do you recognize what's depicted there?
I do.
What is that?
It's a trash bag with a bunch of vegetation in it, i.e. leaves, sticks.
And was that bag seized as evidence as well?
It was.
Why was it seized?
We found it out of place and might be relevant to the investigation.
Was any action taken on that item contained in 5020?
It was.
What was done?
It was sent to a laboratory, agricultural laboratory in New Haven.
And, well, I'll stop there if I can. Item behind you, which is photograph 29. You can take a look at that. What is depicted on that photograph, please?
It's like 2 pieces of white cloth with a blood-like substance on them.
And did you seize those 2 pieces that day?
I did.
And did those 2 pieces come out of Albany and Green
They did.
on May 30th, 2019?
They did.
And why did you seize them as evidence?
They had blood-like staining on them, and I found them relevant.
If I may just approach, I'm going to show you what's marked at C56. Do you recognize that?
I do.
What is it?
It's the exhibit contained within evidence packaging.
And by exhibit contained within the evidence packaging, are you,
It's the white paper cloths in an evidence package.
502P?
Yes.
State would offer 56, Your Honor.
States 56 admitted as a full exhibit.
May I publish?
Yes.
No, sir, just to be clear, did you, could you please show, if I may just approach, whether it's on the actual item or the photograph, the items of blood-like stain? Front of the bigger, I would say, of the paper towels?
The bigger piece, and it's on the edges of the smaller piece.
Thank you. Sir, if you take a look behind you, that is states
30.
30? 30. I'm sorry, not states 30. Photograph 30 out of states 42. What is that, sir?
It's 2 trash bags.
Did you seize those as evidence?
We did.
Why did you seize it as evidence?
We found it relevant to the investigation
Why is that?
because the person of interest or suspect, as you will call it, was dumping items of trash in trash receptacles in Hartford.
No, this is the 3 black napkins. Oh, yes. Okay, this one has the.
Yeah, that's fine.
States 57, Your Honor?
No objection.
States 57 admitted as a full exhibit.
Did you look inside that bag, sir?
I don't,
These in the garbage?
they are.
Okay, in what way?
These are more of a grocery store type bag.
And so why did you still seize these
We were told that
that you could find? Okay. And this one has, I guess, something inside of it? Do you recall that?
I don't recall.
Sir, I'm gonna show you what's behind me now, please. You can take a look at that. Do you recognize that?
I do.
What is it?
It's a razor blade.
Did you find that in the garbage on Albany and Green? Show you what's been marked as states 58. Do you recognize this item?
I do.
What is it?
It's the broken razor blade within evidence package.
State would offer it, Your Honor.
Could I, one here,
Yes.
clarify? Detective, you're referring to this item that we see on the screen, and which is, you looked at the bag that contains what?
I believe a better term would be a scraper with a razor blade attached to it.
Or a box cutter, maybe?
That could be another term.
Right, but it's, you're referring to this item as a razor blade. It's actually a tool that's either a box cutter or a scrape mean by this.
That's a better representation.
Okay, so you didn't take it apart and see what's inside,
I did not.
but you're talking about this whole item.
Correct.
Okay, I'm not going to object. I just wanted to clarify what we were talking about.
And this is states
50. I may, Your Honor. 58A for ID, Your Honor. And I'm gonna put it back in the whole exhibit for 58.
Not whatever was in this envelope.
That's correct, Your Honor.
so 58 admitted as a full exhibit.
Thank you. I'm putting 58A inside of it to keep track, Your Honor, but I am only offering this item. No, sir, you indicated there was a broken blade. If I may approach. What did you mean by that? On the blade? Where was that?
It's on the edges of the blade,
Where?
Yes.
No, where the actual blade is broken?
where it's actually broken.
Thank you, sir. Sir, take a look at the screen behind you. You recognize that item?
I do.
What is it?
It's a screwdriver?
Did that come out of the garbage at Albany and Green?
Yes.
Was that on May 30th, 2019?
Yes.
Now, did you seize that as evidence?
It appeared to be on the shaft portion of the screwdriver.
If I can, sir, I'm going to show you what's been marked as States 59. Do you recognize this item?
Yes,
What is it?
it's
Green?
it is.
The one portrayed on that photograph behind you.
Yes.
State would offer it.
No objection.
So that states 59.
Back to States 59. Where was the blood-like stain that you saw?
It's on the outer
Tool portion,
tool
you say?
portion. Yep.
Thank you. Sir, if you could take a look behind you. Do you recognize what's depicted on that screen?
I do.
What is depicted on that screen?
It's a white colored bra with blood-like substance on the bra.
And if you can, on States 42, File 3, that bra we saw on that photograph, is it contained in picture 7?
It is. There's part of the strap in the bra itself.
Now, you indicated previously that you opened that bag. Why that bag?
It was already partially opened, so I could see within it. So I continued to open it up, avoiding the knot area.
And
Getting the disappearance of a woman where an alleged assault had taken place.
Objection, Your Honor.
Your Honor, it's offered for why he did something.
Again, this goes to why he did something is irrelevant. Basically seized everything he's explained it had a lint-like stain on it, proper and irrelevant.
Well, the information that Sergeant Duggan received, he did not previously say the information he received concerned an assault, but that does not mean that overruled.
Sir, was that item seized as evidence as well?
It was,
Was it given an evidentiary number?
it was.
What number was that?
502U.
If you can go into the next picture. Is that what the bra looked like that day?
Yes, that's a different side of it.
Okay, and the next one? What is that, sir?
That's a long sleeve striped.
If I'm- Entire box was, just to be clear,
60.
the entire box is 60. That would be just the box. I believe I-61 is no objection.
No objection.
Thank you.
Well, 61 is admitted as a full exhibit.
Yes, sir, thank you. As we open it, Your Honor, these have all been sealed. I have not tampered with that. If you can, 62 is a full exhibit as well. With no
Again, same,
objections.
same reservation, we didn't need to open it, assuming it's what we think is in there.
62, state 62 admitted as a full exhibit.
Thank you. And 63 is ID at this time, if I may inquire, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you. And thank you very much for moving. Okay, Sergeant Duggan, can I ask you a couple questions about this box?
Yes.
What is it?
It's a box, and within it is a black trash bag with a shirt and a bra.
With respect to what is, we saw a photograph of the bag containing the bra and the shirt previously, do you remember that?
I do.
And with respect to those three items as a whole, did you seize them together?
I believe we seized them separately.
Okay, and did you give them a F502U number?
Yes,
Okay, so 502U would be the shirt,
the shirt.
502U would be the bra. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, and 502U would be the garbage bag it came in as well.
yes.
Okay, now when you package them together, did you package them within the label of 502U?
Yes.
And if you can, with respect to was a label given onto the box?
It was.
And what does that label read, please?
One plastic garbage bag tied in a knot containing a shirt and bra with blood-like substance, contained within Exhibit 502.
So the shirt and the bra were contained within the bag?
Yes,
So with respect to all three items, did they go to the lab?
they did.
Okay, and how do you know that?
There's a lab sticker on the box.
On state 60?
Yes,
Now I'm going to show you the inside of state 60, if I can. Specifically for ID, state 63. Do you recognize this item?
I do.
What is it?
That's the black trash bag contained within an evidence bag.
How do you recognize it?
There's a writing on the bag that says black trash bag,
And how do you recognize that writing?
because I put it there.
So that would be, that's contained in that writing on this bag on state 63?
Yes,
So what was contained within 63, I'm going to show you, and by the way, this went to the lab afterwards, so you can't testify to anything that happened after you seized it, correct?
correct.
And so anything that was contained in here was something you put in?
Yes,
I'm going to show you the contents of 60. Do you recognize that?
I do.
What is it?
That's the black trash bag.
And is that the black trash bag that you seized in connection with the bra and shirt, or that contained the bra and shirt that day?
Yes,
The state would offer it.
Your Honor, I had a side discussion. This went to the lab and it's been altered, so I'm gonna object at this time until we hear from the lab people, at which point, as long as that foundation is laid, I'm not gonna object. At this point, I submitted the testimony without me even having to do a voir dire, it's in an altered state from when he collected it, and therefore I object at this point. It does require some additional foundation that I'm gonna have some questions about.
Your Honor, if I may, I have successfully completed in the state's view the chain of custody to indicate that this witness saw the black bag, saw the shirt, the bra contained therein, seized it appropriately, logged it all as evidence. He has identified both the bag, the container it came in, as well as the exhibit as a whole. Now, steps on what happened to that item after it left his possession is certainly fodder for cross-examination and further follow-up, which I'm sure there will be, but it goes to its weight with respect to its analysis in the case. It doesn't go to its admissibility. The state has satisfied that, so I would ask it to be admitted at this time.
If I may respond, Your Honor, I've been very liberal about not objecting to the fact that many of these items went to the lab. This is one that there was a lot of lab work done on. It does require chain of custody for that matter, which I understand is going to be done. So I'm objecting, it's not in the condition it was in when it was seized and packaged by this witness. Therefore, he is not it can be marked for ID. They've established the first step, but I believe I'm entitled to show what happened to it, how it was changed, and what it was like when it came back. And again, I am not requiring the state to bring in every person who delivered it and drove it, but there is the lab portion of this. And as I said, I've not objected on that basis to the other items. This is one that there needs to be some examination through the lab people. So I'm objecting that it comes as a full at this moment.
Well, the witnesses testified that the bag itself was pulled from a receptacle. The bag was partially open. Inside of the bag was the bra with blood-like stains and a shirt with blood-like stains. He marked the bag. Counsel's objection is that the bag has been altered. Well, that is not persuasive in determining whether the bag was marked and whether it was the bag that was pulled from the corner of Albany and Green. Overruled.
That is 63 as a full. Your Honor, may I publish these exhibits?
Well, time is 1 o'clock.
Oh.
We can pick up
Yes.
at 2 o'clock. Ladies and gentlemen, we will stand in our luncheon recess. Please do not discuss the case. We will resume at, let's say 2:05.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Do you have-
All rise. This honorable Superior Court now stands in recess until 2:05.